So, Western show patterns. Okay, this is something I want to incorporate into my lessons, group lessons and clinics. I've done this video, one for people that don't really know anything about Western showing, and this is just 4 classes from Western showing. There's loads more, but I think these are going to be much more relatable to general riders and English riders, which is what I'm trying to aim my lessons and teachings to, basically. I know people like doing pole work, there's a lot of flat work clinics and stuff, but you know, it's good to try new things. And what I really like about the Western classes is that it gets you to really challenge yourself on the horse, and it's something so different to the English classes. I think people really enjoy it, so hence why I thought I'd do this video and explain what it is. So all the classes we do in Western relate to horsemanship. Okay, horsemanship. I'm going to do a different video on that later, groundwork and horsemanship video, but let's stick to the Western show classes here. So I've picked 4 classes that I think will be relatable to people. So showmanship in the orange is in-hand leading class, where you on the ground leading your horse through a pattern. It's all about your position, your confidence, how you handle your horse, and the smoothness you do the pattern. So this first of all ties in with your groundwork. So groundwork we're going to do in a different video, but I'm going to show you in the groundwork how it relates to the showmanship pattern, because if you can't move the horse's shoulders, okay, body control down on this pattern, if you can't move the horse's shoulders, rib cage and hind and do a backup, you won't be able to do a showmanship pattern. And that's exactly why I brought these patterns into my teachings, because these are very simple patterns, but a lot of people can't do them because they haven't got the manoeuvres on their horse. So this is what I like to go out and teach people. So there's your showmanship. This is good for your young horses. So if I do a groundwork clinic, I might introduce a bit of pattern work from a showmanship pattern. And showmanship was put into Western classes. This is a class where it's teaching you to handle your horse correctly, build a good relationship with you, use your confidence on the ground. That's what I really like about the Western patterns, because it's not just a pattern to go and do, it's going to teach you useful stuff that you can do with your horses. They've just put it in a show environment. So there's showmanship. So I'll put a pattern up for that. So this is a showmanship pattern. So let's get on to horsemanship. Again, useful class. It's how to ride correctly. It's judged on how you ride correctly, your position in the saddle, controlling your horse through the pattern, smoothness. All of these patterns are related. Smoothness is in this, the flow of your pattern, transitions. So if you like dressage, this is a good one. Okay, so it's gonna, again, you need to be able to back up and use body control, shoulders, rib cage, hind in this. But all you're going to have in a horsemanship pattern is cones. And then you may have one cone, you might have to walk to the second cone, and then lope to the third cone in a straight line, or it could be in a shape. Again, I'll put a pattern up relating to this. So that you can see, again, instead of just using a school and using your letters around the school, you're actually using cones and you're using the whole area and space to with a pattern, which I like this. Again, relationship comes into this, relationship goes back to your horsemanship. Yeah, I really like this one, because not all Western riders ride in a chair seat, but not all yahoos, okay? So this is a really good, correct pattern, horsemanship, to work on your seat, your connection with the horse, your body control, everything, putting all these walk, jog, canter elements into a pattern and doing it correctly and precisely. Hence why you've got the cones, because you've got to stop at a cone, do transition at a cone, and it's got to be exactly on the cone. And then if you can't do that, then I like to relate these patterns on what we need to work on. Okay, it shows up in the pattern what you need to work on, okay, your strengths and weaknesses. So this is a good one I always use for my lessons. So going on to the trail, okay, this is one of my favourite ones. I show in this, and this is my favourite class basically. These two are my favourite classes. So again, go back to trail. So we're going to incorporate poles on this. So I know a lot of English riders like to do pole work. Okay, so why do they like doing pole work? Why is pole work useful? Gets your horse to hold himself, gets him using his abs, using his back. He's got to hold you and himself in a correct position for him to be able to get over the poles and use himself in the right manner. So the only thing that's different to sort of an English flat work clinic to sort of a Western trail pattern will be we've got a back up, again, shoulders, ribcage, hind movement in there. Again, if you like dressage, this is going to be good for you because we're moving all the parts of the body. But what I like about this pattern is we get to have breaks in between. Depending on how hard you want to make it, the fluency is obviously important of the pattern, the smoothness of the pattern, and the degree of difficulty is how least stops you can go and just keep going and making it fluid. But I love starting on this because it gets people to stop, wait, and think about what they're doing and what their horse is doing. And the most important part of the trial I like is people wait for their horse. Especially in the groups that I do and the lessons I do, a lot of the horses don't know how to do this stuff. So again, it highlights what needs to be worked on. But when you're starting out on the trail, I like to use a trail pattern to make sure, again, bring in the horsemanship element, people can move a step at a time. They control each foot of their horse when they want it and where they want it. And this is a crucial, really good skill to have. Again, it builds on your relationship with your horse, and it's just good advanced horsemanship if you can control every step of your horse and put it where you want. So that's trail. Again, trail pattern. Now let's go on to ranch trail. Now this is my really favourite one. This is a new one that's coming from America. So this is, I like to relate it to people that don't know what ranch trail is the old handy pony. I used to do handy pony when I was a kid. I don't think it's around anymore. But basically it's a class with another pattern, they're all patterns. Which is designed for ranch tasks. So you'll find obstacles and tasks in this pattern that you'd find on a working ranch, and you do on a working ranch on your working horse, okay? So this is a good one to see, show you've got a working horse, a safe horse, and a useful horse, okay? We're using advanced manoeuvres here. Now this pattern really test your horse and will show you if different elements of tasks that he is or isn't able to do. Again, training needs to be put onto this pattern, just like the rest of them, but this safe horse relates again back to your horsemanship, but more towards the groundwork on the video we'll do later. Okay, so all the stuff that ranch trail entails, I do in my groundwork when I'm training a horse, okay? So again, another relation to the groundwork and ranch trail. Because not many horses that I go out to see are able to drag a log, to actually even handle a rope being twirled around them, let alone in the saddle. They can't back up through, say, some cones and do a backup serpentine, and they can't ground tie. So all these elements I've just spoke are usually in a ranch trail pattern. So ground tie, if you just want me to explain that to you quickly, is when you get off your horse, you drop the reins. When the reins are on the floor, the horse knows to stand still. That's ground tie. Or you could tie them to the horn for safety if the horse is going to move. But basically, when you get off and you leave it, it will stay there until you come back. And you're not going to go far from it. You might be able to pick its feet up, or you might be able to just post a letter, or you might be asked just to go and pick something up about 5 minutes away from you. But it's all about showing the judge that your horse will stand and wait for you until you come back. But again, something a lot of riders and horses can't do, just because, and it's not that they can't do it, it's just they've not been taught how to do it. So this is why, you know, again, for more advanced horses and riders that want to learn these skills, everything's got a different skill, but they all relate to the same thing, but just in different stages. So I hope that has brought to light some interesting things that people probably didn't know about Western patterns, or probably never knew Western patterns existed. So I hope that's some insight, and I just wanted to make this video so people understood what I was talking about, or what I'm going to start talking about when I say showmanship, horsemanship pattern, ranch trail pattern, or trail pattern. And I think it will be really fun when I go out to do these group lessons and clinics for the English market that have never seen any of this. It's always good to do different things with the horse. That's the way you're going to make a good all-round horse, is to do different things with them. Okay, and it's again all relative to being able to walk, trot, canter, back up, move the shoulders, move the rib cage, move the hind. Again, it's nothing new. You all do it, or should be able to do it, especially if you're shown already in the English circle. You know, all these things are relative to what you do with an English horse as well as a Western horse. You were just going to incorporate the horsemanship mentality to these patterns, where we're going to build a better relationship with the horse, build the trust, build the smoothness, and build the soft signals to make us look like we're doing these things without even touching the horse.